Feel the stretch across the front line of the body and across the stomach. Bringing the hands to the hips, step forwards. Still with the feet hip-width apart, inhale to reach hands overhead. Exhale to reach and fold forwards. We can return to where we previously were, taking hold of the calves or the heels, wrapping the first fingers underneath the big toes. Or this time you can come into Hatha, taking the entire palm underneath the sole of the foot. Seal the lips and count the breath. Inhale. And exhale, release and relax the shoulders. Inhale, press down into the toes, and exhale. On the next inhale, begin to release the hands from the feet, bring the hands to the hips, and hinge back into a standing position. Step the right foot back into our half stance. We're going to come back into Parshvattanasana pyramid pose. Inhale to reach hands overhead, exhale to hinge forwards and fold over the left leg, bending the left knee as much as you feel is appropriate for you. You can rest the hands onto the thigh, onto the shin, or if you can make your way down to the ground or to some props, ground the hands for more stability. Relax the head, seal the lips, and again focus on the rhythm of the breath. On our next inhale, we come into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Left hand can make its way to the brick, or you can wrap the first finger underneath the big toe. Focus on twisting the navel and the heart to face the wall to your right. If you can, begin to bring some more strength to the thighs, anchor down into the toes, and feel the lengthening of the back of both legs as you do so. Right hand lowers down to the brick as a support. It might make its way down towards the floor. Left hand comes to left hip to create the twist of the torso. And then on the next inhale, see if you can reach the left hand skywards. Here, continue to lift the inner arches of the feet and press down into the toes as well as the heels. As your body feels more stable, you'll be able to create a greater twist into the hips. If you prefer lowering down to the back knee, that's also available. Inhale to come out of the posture, interlace the fingertips and once more reach the hands overhead. Here we want to feel the stretch across the front of the body, the stomach and the top of the right hip and thigh. Bringing the hands down to the hips, step forwards. This time bring the feet together, take any props out of the way. Sealing the lips, inhale, reach hands overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold forwards, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, come back to our half lift, Ardha. Planting the hands down, step the right leg back, lower down to the right knee. There are lots of options here, so choose the one that's most appropriate for you. Leave fingertips onto the ground, bring hands to the knee or even reach hands overhead. Final option, which is the most challenging, you can take the right hand back and rest it across the heel. In each of these postures, soften the stomach and encourage the hips to move forwards. Take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, relax the body and just reach a little further. Making our way out of the posture, plant the hands down firmly into the ground and then on the next inhale, take a twist to your left. Option to roll over the toes and lift the left knee. If you do this, strengthen and engage the right thigh. Lowering the left hand down and planting hands into the ground, step back to Kumbhakasana, plank pose. As you lower down to knees, consciously arch the spine and then lower the chest and the chin down to the ground. This is Ashtangasana. Here, bringing the shoulder blades together, creating as much of an arch to the lower spine as you can. On the next inhale, let's glide forwards and come to lower cobra pose. Bringing your forearms forwards with the elbows underneath the shoulders. Begin to squeeze the shoulder blades together and imagine you're drawing the heart or pulling the heart through the hands. When you're ready, slide the hands back, firmly press into them, and let's take a breath in Child's Pose, Balasana. Now let's come into Downward Facing Dog. To help us align here, let's come forwards into plank pose, let the shoulders collapse. And then as you can see, we push into the hands and separate the shoulder blades, creating that space. We'll also make special mention to the back. Often as people begin to try to extend their legs, the upper spine begins to round and curve. Taking a slight bend of both knees will help create a flatter, straighter spine. Seal the lips and then bring your awareness back to the breath. Bending the knees to look forwards, let's step the right foot in between both hands. If it doesn't quite reach, just gently take hold of it and bring it forwards. Once again, you can rest your hands onto the ground here, bring the hands up onto the lap, reach hands overhead, or if you feel that you can send the left hand back towards the left heel, feel free to come in to this deeper variation. In all variations, allow the hips to travel forwards, and once again, bring your awareness to the soft, calm inhale and exhale. As you windmill the hands forwards, firmly press into the palms, and then take that twist looking up towards your right hand this time. Feel free to leave the knee on the ground, but if you want to make this more physical, then start to lift the left knee and strengthen and engage the left thigh. As the right hand lowers and you firmly press into the right heel, step forwards, and then bend the knees and just let the body hang out for a second. On the inhale, come to a half lift and flatten the back, remembering to lift the buttocks, hands to hips, and then we hinge back up. Same sequence to the other side. Inhale, reach hands overhead. Exhale, fold forwards back into our forward fold, Uttanasana. This time as you inhale, step the left foot back, lower down to the left knee, and just encourage the right knee to travel towards the toes for a moment. Options to take hands onto the knee, to reach hands overhead. Or once again, the left hand can reach backwards towards the left heel, right hand can reach skywards or overhead. As always, choose the variation which is most appropriate for you in today's practice. Try not to force anything, challenge your body, but try not to cause any pain at any time. This time as we come into the twist, let's bring hands to heart center into Anjali Mudra and see if you can wrap your left arm around the right knee. As you do this, try to ensure that the right knee is moving outwardly back against the arm. As the two press one another, you'll feel more stability in the hips. Plant the hands down, step back to plank pose, Kumbhakasana. Once again, as you lower to the knees, arch the spine, keeping the spine arched, lower the chest to the ground. Holding here, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And on the inhale, bring the hands forwards, but this time we're going to strengthen the back. Palms either side of the hands, use the muscles of the lower mid-back to lift the shoulders. And if you feel you need more support, bring the hands forwards into Cobra Pose, Bhujangasana. As we lower the body down on the inhale, exhale, push through the hands, send the bum back to the heels. Once again, rolling over toes to come into downward facing dog. Let's come to those same alignment cues. Shoulder blades separate to create space in the shoulders. To help flatten the back, keep a slight bend of both knees. This time round, close down your eyes and see if you can equalize the rhythm of the inhale and exhale. Bending the knees, step the left foot forwards, lower down to the right knee. And then once again, we can come up onto fingertips, rest hands onto the knee or lap. Third option to reach hands overhead into Anjaneyasana. And then our final option is to send the right hand back towards the right heel, left hand to reach skywards or overhead. This time bring your awareness to where you feel the posture. So where do you feel the stretch in the body? Coming forwards, bring hands to heart, and as you exhale, take a twist to the left. Right arm goes to the outside of the left knee, and if you feel you can do so, roll over the toes to lift the right knee off the ground. Planting the hands down firmly, pressing into the left heel, step forwards and bend the knees so the body hangs and softens. Bringing hands to the hips, hinge to halfway lift. As you bend the knees, begin to stand. Inhale, reach hands overhead. Exhale, bring hands back by your side. Here we'll come into a deeper standing sequence. Bring props with us to act as an assistance. Separating feet so they're in full stance, that's about 3.5 feet in width. Turning the toes of the right foot outwardly, slowly sink into the right knee and allow it to sit over the ankle. As you do so, the right arm is going to hover inside the right thigh and shin. For more support, you can use a brick or even rest your elbow onto the thigh. Reach the left hand skywards, anchor down into the right heel, and on the inhale, lift up the torso, come into Warrior Two. Relax the shoulders. And here, focus on sending the right knee outside of the big toe. On the inhale, send the left hand behind the back. Reach the right hand skywards, and if you feel you can do so, just start to bend the body backwards, feeling the stretch across the right hand side. On the inhale, we're going to extend through both legs, come into a wider and a bit more challenging variation of triangle pose from before. Once again, we can bring the brick in. If you feel you can take the first finger down towards the big toe, feel free to wrap it under there. Inhale to reach left hand skywards, and then if you can, reach it overhead. Focus on strengthening through the thighs, pressing into the heels, and even squeezing the heels against the mat towards one another. As we exhale, left hand to the hip, and we can begin to stand. Before we move to the left hand side, we're going to come into Devyasana. Turning the heels in so the toes are facing outwardly, sink the hips down into a squat. Here, focus on pressing down into the heels, and once again, try to keep the knees outside of the big toes. As you begin to stand and turn the toes straight, take our props over to the left hand side. Turn the toes of the left foot out to create a 90-degree angle. Straightening through both legs to begin with, as you bend the left knee. Start to bring the body forwards, and then once again rest the left hand on the inside of the thigh. If you feel you prefer to use a prop, rest the hand onto the brick or even onto the lap. This time focus on strengthening the right thigh. Bring the shoulder blades together and twist and rotate the torso. On the inhale, lift the torso back into Warrior 2. Palms are turned up this time, and then relax the shoulders down. Seal the lips, and if you can, close your eyes. And as we did before, squeeze the heels against the mat towards one another. Right hand travels and ventures behind the back. If you can take the thigh, please feel free to do so. Reach the left hand skywards, and if you feel comfortable, come into a bit more of a bend through the body by reaching back. On the inhale, begin to extend the left leg, and as you reach forwards, the left hand can lower to the thigh, the shin, the brick, or the first finger can wrap underneath the big toe. Right hand reaches skywards. If you feel comfortable, right hand reaches overhead. Trying to focus on keeping the shoulders stacked either side of the heart. Strengthen the thighs. And then once again, bring your awareness to the breath. Catch yourself if you are breathing too deeply and soften. As the right hand comes to the right hip, we hinge up. We turn the toes straight and we come back into that wide squat. With the toes turned out, this time focus on pressing down into the heels and lifting the inner arches of the feet. Pressing down firmly into the big toe. Relax the shoulders. Notice the strength through the hips and the inner thighs. Inhale to rise, and then step to the top of the mat. Lowering down to the mat, if you have a prop or a pillow, bring it down with you, place it in between the knees. This is going to help us add some more strength to the inner thighs. That can often help engagement of the abdominals. Bring hands to heart center, and keeping the spine as straight as you can, take a twist to your right. Be mindful that the hands stay right in the center of the chest. This is going to give you a marker to see how much you can twist from left to right. After coming back to the center for a breath in, take a twist to the left. Lifting the heart nice and high. Inhaling to come back to the center, and then coming down into our half or low boat Navasana. Bend the knees, and then you can keep the knees as bent or as straight as you like. Round the lower spine. Focus on bringing your rib cage down towards the pelvis. Once again, just be mindful of the breath becoming too forced, and then slowly relax. Next we come to bridge pose. Here, for more support, you can place a brick underneath the flat part of the pelvis. But to add more strength into our practice, keep the hips high and elevated with no support. Press into the heels, close down your eyes, and bring your awareness to the buttocks. Lifting the left heel into the air. Bring your awareness down to the right heel where you can anchor down. And see if you can bring more strength and engagement to the right buttock. Lowering the left heel down to lift the right leg, we do the same. Pressing down into the left heel, focus on the left buttock. As the right heel lowers and we lower the spine down, hug the knees nice and tight around the spine, create a bit of release. Now come into some gentle twists. Keeping the knees together, maybe the knees bent, let the legs rest over to the right hand side. Bring the right hand up across the left thigh. If you feel comfortable to bind the legs or even straighten the left leg, feel free to bring that into practice too. Once again, bring your awareness to the breath. As you start to focus on the breath, you will find that it has an incredible ability to calm the mind and relax the body. Let's bring the legs back to the center and then slowly taking them over to the left hand side. Once again, we can bend at the knees, or you can straighten the right leg and extend the foot over towards the left hand. Seal the lips down and just see if you can soften the breath and slow it too. Coming back to the center and hugging the knees nice and tight, let's come back into a seated position. Next we'll come to pigeon pose, Kapotasana. Here you might find a yoga brick or maybe a pillow or a cushion underneath the right hip. Might be a great way to really stabilize the hip and get more from the posture. Extend the left leg behind, and then as you bend the right knee, tuck it in towards the hips and the groin. To begin with, press down firmly into the hands, bring the shoulder blades together and lift the chest nice and high. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, begin to walk the hands forwards. Some might find that they want to rest on the hands, others might be able to lie the body completely down. Focus here on encouraging the left hip to move closer to the ground, being aware of the stretch across that right hand side of the body. Once again, seal the lips, bring your awareness to the rhythm of the breath. Inhaling to walk the hands back. As we take it to the side, we bring the left leg forwards, once again using the yoga brick or even a pillow or a cushion underneath the left hip. And here you can see that as you bend the knee, we can tuck the heel in towards the right hip and groin, or you can begin to extend it further away, allowing the shin to be squarer with the top of the mat. Take one final inhale, and as you exhale, begin to fold forwards. Start to bring your awareness to the outside of the left hip. And just see, even if it's to the smallest degree, can you relax this area? Then coming back to the breath. Walking the hands back to lift the chest. Firmly press into the hands, step back into downward facing dog, and after just pedaling from side to release the legs. Let's step the left foot forwards once more. Take hands either to the thighs or to the shins. If you feel you can travel a little deeper, take hands towards the heels, resting the crown of the head onto a yoga brick or maybe even the floor. Strengthen the thighs. And just start to be mindful of the sensations in the lower back. Make sure that you're not forcing anything here or overstretching the back in any way. Relax the shoulders down. And once again, strengthen the thighs. Walking the hands forwards, and then taking the hands over to the left hand side. Similar to where we were before, let's come back into a lunge pose as a counter. Here as you take the right hand behind the head, notice the stretch all across the right thigh, into the hip, the stomach. Slowly crawling your way over to the right hand side, left hand comes up, we rest it behind the head and the neck. If you feel you can take it further, you might find you can lower the fingertips of the right hand down to the ground too. Today we'll close our practice without a meditation, but just giving you space and time to collect yourself. Lower down into a comfortable position, either lay on your shoulder or your back, and simply bring your awareness to the music. Don't feel the need to judge the music, Decide whether you like it or not. Just allow yourself to witness and listen to what you hear. And that brings our practice to a close. Thank you for joining me today. Well done. I'll see you again soon.